Hello and welcome to Videos and Fly Fishing. Today I'm gonna tie a simplified version of the famous fly Pattegrisen. You can see it in the picture here. The reason I use craft fur in this fly is because the spey hackle has been so incredible expensive. So I don't use that. I don't see the need for it. This fly fishes just as good as Pattegrisen, and I've tested it side by side. There's no difference there. Well, a little about materials used in this fly. As I said, I use craft fur for the hackle, spin in a double loop, and I use some ice I made myself from burnt mono and hot melt glue to form the ice. And I weighted this fly. You can use the unweighted version also, but in shallow waters. But this fly is weighted with some 2 lead wire wind together and flattened it with the flat nose pliers. Well, the hook I use is saltwater shrimp hook from Partridge in size 4. I think this is a right size for this. You can also tie this fly in smaller sizes. And for the mouth parts of this fly I use some teal feather. Cut off the stem and use the fiber only, and the antenna I use some crystal flash and some Lady Amherst fiber. The Lady Amherst fiber is a new fiber I use. I got it yesterday, and I use this colored with some permanent marker in the right color. And I use some gold wire for ribbing. I don't use the mono because I think the wire is much easier to use. It's not so slippery. And some dubbing I use. I use some Arctic Fox fibers that I cut up and colored with the salmon pink color. Well, have I forgotten anything then? I don't think that. So get on with the tying. Well, let's start tying then. Well, we're gonna tie this poor man's piglet. This is kind of a bastard of a fly. I take something from here and there and put together this fly. The hook I'm gonna tie on today is this saltwater shrimp Partridge size 4. I like this size. It's the right size for this shrimp, I think. And I'm gonna weight it down. And I use this kind of lead. This is a lead wire. I wind it together. And I'm gonna flatten it with a plier like this. And further on, I use some salmon pink craft fur for legs, and I'm gonna use some crystal flash for the antenna together with this Lady Amherst fiber. I color this with my marker. It take color very good, this fiber, so it's a nice new product for me. Well known in the production of salmon flies. Further on for the rib, I'm gonna use this fly tying wire from Semperfly, bright gold. Many people use the mono thread for this. I don't like it. I like the wire. It makes a little shine to it, and it's easier to deal with. And for the shellback I use this salmon pink Congo hair. Nice product from Fly Type Dungeon. And I'm gonna use some dubbing for this. This is nearest I have is my own product. This is Arctic Fox colored with salmon pink color. It takes dye very good. It's not it's a natural fiber. I blended it with some flash, so it'll be a little bling. Well, yeah. For the eyes, I use my homemade shrimp eyes. I make this from burnt mono and some hot melt glue. I have a video for this. I'm gonna put this in the description so you can see how I make this eyes. And well, is there anything else? Well, no. Well, maybe some thread. I'm gonna use some oh, there was some loose. This is Simplify 80 wax thread. I'm gonna put this in my bobbin and then we're ready to start. Well, I loaded my spool into the bobbin and I'm ready. Well, I start on with putting on some thread. And I take out the wire I had like this. Just take out a little piece, flatten it with my pliers. It don't build too much when I do like this. Sorry about my pronouns. But I'm loaded with caffeine this morning and I have made myself a nice pot of coffee. And the way I'm gonna attach this lead is I just attach it on the upper side first, like this, with some loose wraps, and I just whip it to the underside. I like the fly to ride correctly in the water, so I want the hook point down. So that's why I put my lead on the underside of the shaft, to prevent it riding upside down in the water. Well, some thread wraps on this, like this. Okay, yeah, I forgot a little thing for the mouth parts on this fly. Of course I use some teal feather. That's what I'm gonna put in now. I take out the stem of this feather, snip it off. Take the fibers out like this, and I put it onto the hook. Like this. And snip off the rest. Then I'm gonna take some dubbing. This is the dubbing from my own making. It's Arctic Fox, salmon pink colored. And I take something on the thread. Try to make a little ball in the front here. That's enough. And then I'm gonna take this wonderful immersed fiber. I paired it up, one on each side. Like this. Take the one on the other side. Just make it go where you want it. It's quite strong, this fiber. It's very nice black markings on it. Originally this fiber is white, but as I said, you can color it with whatever dye you want. And if I want to make some bling, I take also put on some crystal flash. Peel out one strand from the bag, and I use my method. I take the longest side of the flash pointing forwards and wind it on like this, and just double it over so it will point forward, and snip it off in the right length. So away with that. Now the eye is gonna put on. I'm gonna use this homemade eye I made. This is very solid ice. It will stick on to this fly. It will never break on you. I can say because I tested it so many times. Just wind it up, wind it on like this, snip it off. And I'm gonna change the angle at twice so that more easier put this eye on the right side like this. Just snip off remains of this mono. I don't like the eyes to be too long because I don't want it to snag into my leader when I'm fishing. And put on some lacquer. I could use some super glue, but some lacquer does the trick as well. Now I take a little, where did I put this? A little flash. I use this fluorescent shell pink together over the eyes. A little one. A little dab. Not so much, but like this. Like that. Just a thing I do with my flies. I like a little haircut on my shrimps. Well, now it's time for putting on the wire. You have that shiny gold wire from Semperfly. I like it. Nice to have in your fly tying cabinet. Everybody of my pals who's tying flies has a lot of materials, and I should tell you that fly tying wire is a very nice thing to have. Well, now it's gonna get some more. I'm gonna get the dubbing loop in front here. So I just take out some fly tying thread like this, make a loop, double it over to close the loop like that, and put it in my material clip, hang it away from me. Now I'll take on and make the body. Use some more of my homemade dubbing. Now it's important to, you don't have to tighten up this little rascal more than the, because you're gonna use some dubbing brushes to take it all out between the craft fur. Make it like this, go a little back and forth. Just have to try not to snag the camera, because I have the same color on my thread as my dubbing. This will be invisible for me or for everybody else. Well, go back and forth a little bit. Make a little thick body. That's gonna blend in with my craft fur legs in the end. Well, I stop there. Just a precaution, I take a little half hitch so it don't unwrap on me. Yeah. Well, now it's getting there. Now it's gonna take out a little part of this craft fur. So I'm gonna show you how I put this in my material clip. I have this kind. You can also get some clear one, and I use this. It's okay. Well, now I have placed some craft fur in my material clip, my clamp clip, and I'm gonna take some to make this material stay in my loop. I take out my loop and just wax on with some ski wax. Somebody may not know that, but this is the best wax you can get from to attach this little babies. Well, place this in the loop. Be sure not to tuck. Just to and if you're there, you can take your scissors, snip off the ends as close as you can to avoid too much bulk. And make it vertical and spin the dubbing twister like this. You can use your scissors to pick out some fibers. and you can either use your use your left hand to make the fibers go forward, you see this makes a very nice fly. Very, very nice fly, and it's cheap and it's deadly effective. And once you get the hang of it, it's very fast tie as well. Now I'll cut off the thread, take out, and so on. Then you have all this craft fur fiber placed on your hook shank. Now it's time for the shell back. Like I said, I'm gonna use this material. The way I'm gonna do this is I take out half of what I actually need and I snip off a piece. And now I'm gonna clear my workspace a little bit. There's a lot of fibers lying around. Now I take and double it over on the thread like that, you see, and place it right where I want it on my hook shank. Now comes this part that I need my toothbrush. Where did I put it? Place it in my material clip. Reach out for my old toothbrush. I've made this toothbrush a little more sturdier and stiffer by cutting off half of the fibers. So I'm gonna take out my gold ribbing wire and I'm gonna take this round like this, and at the same time I use my toothbrush to prevent snagging on too much fiber, and I go up on my side and back down on the back side and continue on with the rib on both sides. Try not to snag on too much fibers. All the way until I reach the hook eye and some wraps around, and I take my thread and secure it like that. Some securing wraps, and use your helicopter method and whip this little wire off. And I'm gonna take out my whip finisher. There it is. Make a little whip finish on the end here. There you have it. Well, voila. It's like a magician. And now I make a little snip. There you have it. You see. And now I find my little. Oh, yeah, I make so much mess on my fly tying disc, so I cannot find my tool. But here it is, my dubbing needle, full of hot melt glue from yesterday when I made my shrimp eyes. So now I'll clean it enough. So I use my dubbing needle just to pick out any trap fiber I might have, so it looks the best. Okay, now I take my dubbing brush. I use this little one, if I can find it. It's around here somewhere. There it is. I use this from Stonefall Petite Comb. Very nice. It has the comb on the one side and Velcro on the other. And just use on the side and try not to pick out too much fiber from the shell back. Just try to take out some of this underbody that I made first. Like this. You see, some of the underbody is getting out, and I use my Velcro to persuade all the fibers going forward. And for the last little, you can take some lacquer on the thread and also on the shell back if you want. Well, that's all I had for you folks, so I hope you like this little video. This is call it a poor man's piglet. This is a nice fly. It don't cost too much. It's easy to tie when you get a hang of it. So I thank you all for watching my video, and I welcome you back to my next, and subscribe to my channel. I will try to post new flies now and then, so hang in there people, and have a nice day everybody.